Hello, and thank you for joining us here on Arts 24. Today on the program, AKAA, or also known as Africa, it's a Parisian arts and design fair dedicated to artists from Africa and its diaspora here in France. Now, the fair is on at Paris's Carreau du Temple. It celebrates its 10th edition this year. To mark the occasion, I'm thrilled to have Victor Nyakauru, mixed media artist from Zimbabwe, and Gavin Goodman, South African photographer and visual artist. Thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, both of you, of course, exposing your work at AKAA this year. Maybe we'll start with you, Gavin. Can you tell me more about what's on display?
Sure. So this year, I'm a photographer by trade. Been working for about 20 years, commercial and fine art space. And this is a kind of new departure for me. I've created some mixed media pieces that are a combination of photography, digital arts, and they're finished with hand-painted acrylic. And it's a whole body of work that's sort of being released for the first time at this fair. And I also have a TV screen where all the characters are coming to life on the screen, and then they also have limited edition prints. So we created this whole beautiful little world in our booth.
Okay, I'm sure you'll really enjoy interacting with the public as well at AKAA. And what about you, Victor? What's on display for you at AKAA this year?
Well, we are interrogating negritude. You know, negritude was a movement, a black resistance movement, which was started here in Paris in the 1930s. So, yeah, we are interrogating it, and we want to, revive it and make it global. So, yeah, I think a lot of young people doesn't know about it. So we are here to remind them and let them know.
Now, Victor, you mentioned negritude just now. One of the founders of this concept was the poet Léopold Sédar Senghor, who became the first president of Senegal. Now, his great-grandnephew, Sitor Senghor, is the new artistic director of AKAA. He told France 24's Anaïs Chanel why he hopes AKAA can help reconcile France with the African continent.
French colonization involved a kind of mission for assimilation and integration, which today translates into rejection from some African countries. Therefore, through art and by placing art on the market, we may be able to reconcile culture and its market, and therefore Africa and France.
Gavin, do you agree that art can help reconcile differences?
Absolutely. I mean, art is, it's a universal language. It's one of the things that I've sort of connected with going to a lot of these fairs is no matter where you're from, what your history, your culture, your background, there's something where people just connect at these fairs. It's this universal appreciation of art and all the different stories that are behind a lot of the pieces. So I definitely do think so, yeah.
And what about you, Victor? In what way can art help reconcile differences?
It's art is a therapy, like Gavin said. It connects people, it heals people, and it interacts, it educates. It does a whole lot of people. So all those elements. We're hoping it to have an impact, have a statement to Africans, its diaspora, and also to the world.
Victor, you are predominantly a sculptor, but you do focus on taking discarded objects and breathing new life into them. In the process, you encourage us to reflect on themes like pollution, environmental sustainability, and the power of recycling. Take a look. Now, there's one piece that really struck me personally. It's called Father's Bull. And I was wondering if you can tell us how this project came about and what was the message with that.
Father's Bull was, it was a competition at the National Gallery of Zimbabwe. It was a theme called inheritance. So in our local Shona culture, the father used to be given a bull by his son-in-law. So yeah, that bull, it protects the family, and it's passed on to the to the generation, to the younger generation. So it's part and parcel of inheritance.
Do you think the fact you use everyday objects gives you a proximity with your audience that you might not have otherwise?
Yeah, because each and every object has its own strength. So yeah, I see every object have its own power, its own strength. So I just try to put all those powers, those strengths together, so that it can have a really big meaning in what is being said, what is being put across.
So, Gavin, one of your eminent works is the Vela series. In Xhosa and Zulu, it means to appear or emerge.
Emerge, yes.
Let's take a look. Can you tell us about how this series came about?
Yes, for sure. So a lot of my work is, I'm born and raised in South Africa, and a lot of my work is as a photographer of 20 years, my eyes drawn to things that I perceive to be beautiful. And South Africa is a real melting pot of many different African cultures. And so over the years, just my lived experience growing up, I've seen so many of these beautiful African designs, headwear, garments. And so what I do is I sort of reinterpret a lot of these elements that I perceive as beautiful in this modern minimalist style. And that's sort of the style that I love. And this work in particular is kind of a similar interpretation. And it's almost got a bit of a kind of a fashion inspiration from my history as a photographer. And it's just a celebration of beauty and culture and I'm just celebrating the beauty that I'm surrounded by in my upbringing.
Now, in another one of your series called Cult of Couture, you pair photography with biting social commentary. Why did you want to sort of send these very strong messages?
Well, I'm an artist as well as a photographer, and part of your role, if you're really into being an artist, is conveying messages in your work. And this particular series was just it's quite disconnected to the work I'm showing, but it's just a commentary on, I find this topic quite interesting. It's this whole obsession with consumerism and luxury brands, and how, some people can barely afford rent, but they'll save up for 3 months to buy like a really expensive handbag. And I find the whole concept a little absurd personally. So it was almost commentary on modern day's culture of this kind of obsession, and it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek look, kind of done in the aesthetic that I sort of love.
So it's sort of personal biting commentary on society today.
Yeah.
Now, one of the main events at AKAA this year will be a monumental installation called Wafrika by Cameroonian artist Serge Mwang, inspired by his experience living as an African man in Japan. Victor, you also spent a bit of time in Asia, didn't you? You were in South Korea in 2014 for an international sculpture symposium. Mm-hmm. And then in 2017, you were in Hong Kong for the first Afrocentric exhibition. How do you explain this growing interest in African art in the Asian continent?
Yeah, I would say it's growing very, very big, and I appreciate that the Asians are doing much more, and we encourage them to do more and to look into African art, collect African art, integrate African artists and its people, its diaspora, and they need to learn more, know more on African art, and they are doing that. I should appreciate. And to me, I would say, we need much more of this in Asia, because as you can see, it's only a few Asian countries which is doing this. So we want the whole of Asia to incorporate this, to take African artists, African art to Asia.
So teaching culture really through art in a way. Now, Gavin, you also incorporated Asian influences in your series, Lalaza. I read that you commissioned a local origami artist in South Africa to pleat from a single piece of paper the props that the models wore.
Yes.
What influence has Asia had on your art?
Well, I wouldn't say it's specific influence, but I was sort of I was on Instagram a little while ago and I saw these beautiful origami sculptures. And I just thought visually how interesting this would be to incorporate some kind of this technique into my work. So I commissioned a local origami artist, and I sort of, myself and my stylist, we collaborated in the designs. And it's also, I guess a lot of my work is, because it's this universal language of appreciating beauty and reinterpreting certain elements into a modernized kind of aesthetic, I just thought it would be really like a visually interesting approach to kind of borrow and blend a few other techniques, and you know, it's for me, I just love the minimalism of that culture, and I just connected with the aesthetic, and I just thought a merge of the two would be like really interesting, and yeah, I'm really chuffed with how that series came out.
It's the photographs are absolutely stunning to look at. Well, Asian art and artists from the diaspora are also being honored in Paris this week in Asia Now. Its 11th edition is underway here in Paris with some 70 international galleries represented. Maybe you'll be checking out the fair while you're here? Maybe?
Love to.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
You never know. You might get some inspiration from there as well. Well, thank you so much, Victor and Gavin, for joining us here on set at
Thanks for having us.
24. Thank you so much for watching. We'll leave you with a few images from Asia Now. It runs until October 26th at La Monnaie de Paris. See you next time.